it was all worth it. Did I cry a lot? Hell yeah. Or should I say heck yeah? I don't know. Sorry, I hope it's not a bad word. But hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And welcome if you're new. Welcome to all my new subscribers. You guys just warm my heart. Thank you so much for journeying with me and just being along with me on this journey. Yeah, just welcome. And so today we're talking about the Daniel fast, which you've seen from the title. But the I just think that God is just so intentional. So I was thinking like potentially doing scrapbooking today, and I might still do it later on, but or just like listening to God. And He told me that He wanted me to record, what I learned on the Daniel fast. And out of obedience, I'm going to do it. But I think that it also healed me because I ended the Daniel fast earlier than I wanted to. And but I did make my 21 days, and I made 40 days on a Daniel fast. And because I ended it earlier, I felt really upset and angry at myself, and I was disappointed, and I thought that God would be disappointed in me. But instead, He just showered me with love and grace. And I have been telling everyone how important November is because it is a time of reflecting and seeing God's miracles that He has done in your life and throughout your life. And what God revealed to me was the biggest miracle that He has ever given us is grace. Because grace allows you to continue to come back to Him, even when you feel disappointed. And if you watch my baptism video, you saw that the first thing that I put on my baptism video is my why. And that was so important to me because I said that I intentionally and unintentionally walked away from God. And just being able to see how He still loves me enough to accept me back over and over and over again. Because sometimes you miss a prayer day, right? Sometimes you're running to go to work and you don't say something in the morning, but He still loves you to come back in the night, right? He loves us. We're in relationship with Him. And I feel like I'm going on a tangent, but I'm just so grateful that I have Him in my life because He has just changed it completely in this year, and it's just really been amazing. But the topics that I want to talk about today is what is a Daniel fast, why I did the Daniel fast, my story comes similar to Daniel's, and then what I've learned, because that's what God told me to do, and what I hope to do moving forward. Okay, and so what is the Daniel fast? So basically, the Daniel fast, it's a lot of food restrictions. Okay, so the what you'll probably find out on, I guess, like social media or those stuff is the fact that you need to avoid meat, dairy, alcohol. You have to eat vegetables. You can consume whole grains. You cannot have anything that is processed, and all the different stuff. And if I missed out something, I'm sorry. But that's like what you're not allowed to eat. But why did Daniel go on this fast? So Daniel decided to go on this fast because, first of all, he was in captivity. And the king at the time chose him alongside other men to go through a training for 3 years so that they can be a part of his royal service. And while they was there, they were feeding Daniel things that he believed that was not a part of what he should be eating according to the laws of Moses. And so because of that, Daniel exercised his faith and wanted to be obedient to the Lord. And so he followed what he believed to be true and right, and told the guard, like, hey, I don't want to eat those food. And so because of that, he people have now came up with this fast where we kind of eat very similar to Daniel, fruits and vegetables, no meats, no alcohol, just drinking water, no processed food. And yeah, it's a really hard, challenging diet, but God is good, right? And so yeah, and most people use it, like, I think in the beginning of the year. So personally, I have always heard of the Daniel fast. I first heard about it through the Wheeler Avenue Baptist Church, which my aunt goes to in Houston. And they would do it every January. And it was like, I was like, oh, I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. And I think in 2020, when I restarted this channel, I think I remember starting to do it, but never, I think I did like 2 days. And I was like, ooh, that was really tough. But it was really good. And I remember like how awesome the food had taste, doing it, and how healthy it was. And I always said I wanted to do it. And people who have done it had like wonderful stories and results. And you always see them on YouTube around like January, the end of January, or the early February. Like you always see the videos of people who did the Daniel fast and then their stories and whatever. And so why did I do the Daniel fast? Personally, it was a direction from the Lord, which I feel like is very similar to Daniel. God, and I have my little, this is my little church notebook. It says jot that down. And so I write like when the pastor is talking in church, and I'm trying to find the page. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm trying to find the page, but basically God had told me to do it. He told me to do it, I want to believe, in September. Yep, he did. In September, he told me. So yeah, September 22nd, my church talking about baptism. And we were talking about baptism, and they were just talking and talking and talking. And while the church is going on, like, I feel the Spirit a lot in my church, and I love it. And I heard God told me in October, do fasting and prayer. And I was like, wait, I said, it says October fasting and prayer. And I said, God, what do you want me to fast from? And he says, sugar and social media. And I was like, well, God, can I finish the sweets I already have? And he said, yes, you will have 1 week to prepare for the fast. And I said, okay, but God, will I be allowed to like at least post the photos, the at least post the photos of my baptism? Because if you on my Instagram, which is Daiya_98, you'll see that I posted my baptism photos on October 1st, and I got baptized September 8th, and I was like, no, like I can't post it because I had to wait until October 1st because I was on my social media fast. And so I asked God, like, okay, so if I posted on the 1st and you told me to fast on the 1st, when do you want me to start? And he said October 3rd. And I asked him, so how long? And he said 3 weeks, or until I tell you. I just started telling him praises and started asking instructions for other stuff, right? And then the following Sunday, which was September 29th, I hope I didn't say October 29th, because we're in November, so I think I mixed it up, but it was September 22nd. And then September 29th, this is actually the day that I heard to go on a church picnic, which has been blowing up the solo picnic, sorry, the solo picnic with the Lord, which just has been blowing up on my channel, which is like, but anyway, so on the 29th, I go to church now, and my church announced, the pastor announced that for the month of October, he wants us to fast. And he says that he believes that the next 3 months will be the birds. He was talking about how we're supposed to be getting really close to God, because moving forward, the and he feel like in 2025, like it will be God's year. It's going to be the year that God answers our prayers. It's going to be the year that things that we're waiting for comes to pass. And so he says, like, he really wants us to hone in and fast in October. And he says some people are going to be led to go all the way till December, or whatever the Lord leads you to do, because he says, but just listen and be obedient, because God is definitely going to work within us for the rest of the year, until, so that in January, or in what is it called, in next year, that we'll see the fruits of our labor. Like, he keeps saying that we're gonna reap a harvest. And so he tells us that we're gonna do a fast. And he told us, he said, ask God how he wants you to fast, which I love about my pastor. He always tells us that, like, he's gonna do this, but he wants us to ask God, what do you want me to do? And so our pastors told us to do that. So I was interested. I was like, God, I'm in the presence right now. What do you want me to do? And he told me he wanted me to do the Daniel fast. And so I was like, okay, do you want me to start on the 7th or the 3rd? And the reason why I asked that is because my church started on the 7th, but God told me the 3rd. Like, I told you the 3rd. And I was like, okay. And then I was looking over it just to figure out when did he tell me all of this. And I felt like he gave me other instructions, but it's another conversation. And so yeah. And then he gave me that, took some notes or whatever. And then this is when he starts giving me vision for my YouTube channel, and my weight loss, and just different things that I wanted to come to pass. And then he told me to go on a church picnic next Sunday. And so that's why I started to fast. It's basically because the Lord told me to. And so, yeah. And then what really stood out to me was I was really going to break my fast early on. And I think I already shared that vlog. Yeah, I have shared that vlog with you guys. And it's the day I'm in that black, I don't know, it's the black vest. And I think I'll put a little, I'll put the tag of that vlog. But I talk about how I went to pray to my pastor, whose name is actually Daiya, which I think is so crazy. And I call him and I'm like, hey, I'm really going through it right now. And God tells me to call him, right? And I'm like, I'm really going through it right now. I'm really going through it right now. I don't even know why I'm really fasting, because it's been tough, and I don't have anything to fully anchor me on this fast, because I didn't ask, I didn't choose to do the fast. In September, I chose to do the social media fast to get closer to God before my baptism. But in October, he told me to. So I was I don't even really know fully what it is that he wants me to do. I was just really just having a tantrum because I wanted to eat food and stuff like that, and telling him how hard it is, and how I'm on the Daniel and I don't have a kitchen, and it's not another fast where you guys in the church, they weren't doing the Daniel fast. They were doing regular fasting, either dry fasting or hourly fast, where you just stop eating food for a certain amount of time. And so it's should I be doing that, because I haven't really ate nothing all day and I'm starving? I could still be fasting like you guys. And the pastor and I was just chopping it up, and he was telling me basically, the Lord told you to do the Daniel fast. He told you for a reason. And we're just talking about how I didn't go to church on Sunday, and I went on the picnic, and all the things that God has been revealing to me. And then I got a flashback, and basically I told him that I believe that God is teaching me discipline, and because it's so hard. And when I said that, the pastor goes, "Really?" And I told him, like, I started like 3 days before, or 4 days before you guys. Started on the third. And he goes, "I started on the third." I'm like, "The pastor started on the third?" He's like, "Yeah, like I started on the third." He says that he started on the third because he believed that God had called him to start a little bit earlier than the church. And I was like, "What?" And so I was like, okay, now I know this was like definitely a word from the Lord. And long story short, me and him were just talking. And while I wasn't even on church that Sunday, like what God was revealing to me while we were talking was all the things that he had talked about, which was the why that we were fasting. And so I basically told him that then I wrote this little card. Oh my god, I feel like I'm all over the place. But then I wrote this little card of like why I'm fasting, and I put it up on my prayer corner, which was to be obedient to God. And I have been believing God to help me with my weight loss. I had been believing God for a future husband. I had believing God to strengthen my relationship with him. But most importantly, I wanted to just see whatever God has for me. Let me see that. Like, even if my husband doesn't come or whatever, if he does come, I want to be with you. Like, I want to see what you got for me. Like, because what I've been learning is his plans is way better than what I could conjure up for myself. And so, yeah. One of the biggest things that I've learned while on the fast is how we need to surrender our plans for God. We have to. Like, I think I put that October as a month of surrendering, but like it really is. Like, it was a month of surrendering what I thought that God had for me, what I thought that I wanted, what I thought that I needed to do, and how I would do certain things, and let him be the alpha of my life. Like, let him direct me, let him lead me. And the first thing that I asked was, I learned, ask God first. Don't just assume. Ask him, God, what do you want me to do? And I feel like I started doing that towards the end of September. This is why I'm doing the Daniel fast, because he told me to. But like, ask God, God, what do you want me to do here? Do you want me to do this? Right? Even like asking God, God, what do you want my next date to be? Roller skating. God, how does that honor you? You got to trust me when you roller skate because you've never done it by yourself. Okay, right? And then I learned like our food is filled with nonsense. Like, do you know how hard it was to just find coconut milk raw? And if I was in the islands, I would have been like, blah, blah, blah. But I don't have a cutlass and like stuff like that. But it was just like, yo, it is difficult. And eating clean just does your body amazing, your skin amazing. Like, it makes you feel better. Like, after I broke the fast, started to, started eating like my chocolate and my candy and stuff like that. And I was just like, I see the decline in not actually eating the right food. Like, automatically you don't feel as light, as good about yourself, and just like you just feel a lot better. Like, eating the right things, like what you consume is so important. And that's with your mental health, your physical health. Like, it's just, yeah. And then I learned that addictions are common, and I really believe that I kind of have one when it comes to I think I have one when it comes to sugar. I learned that I am very much sugar and salt. I am very much an emotional eater. And I think God revealed to me why it's been so hard when it comes to weight loss, because you guys know I'm on the journey to become a licensed professional counselor. So basically a therapist. And when I deal with a lot of like distressing clients or just have a stressful day, I grab a bag of chocolate. I grab like, that's my excuse to go get some canes or something like cheesy. Like, I like to eat. When I'm happy, I like to eat. I'm Caribbean. We eat and we cook it up and we celebrate. You know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, eating has just been really part of my culture. But then, just eating in general is like how we do it. And then, what I've learned is that because like there's so much crap in our food, addictions are so common. And then, what I also realize is that because we let me say, when I say we, but like because we're not able to actually eat the food that I want, I had to surrender a lot to God and talk to him about it. But I've also learned that when we're not, I learned about the addiction mindset. That's what I'm trying to go at. I learned at the fact that I learned that I learned that when you leave a substance, your mind has already found a way to deal with your emotions, deal with all these things. And so sometimes I would try to call a friend first before talking to God. And it was like, hey, talk to me. Like, get close to me. Like, you can't go on when you can't go on social media. You can't do this. And I also listen to like more gospel music when I'm fasting. I listen to gospel music a lot, but like one of my struggles lately has really been music and letting go of certain genres because they're really close to home. And certain songs they're just nostalgic for me, and so I'm working on my like playlist. Try not to go too what's it called, secular, but there's certain ones that I'm just like anyway. So yeah, so addictions are common, and I've learned that we just kind of find different outlets to basically deal with our emotional stuff, but we don't necessarily take the time to go to God. And there was just so much that he just revealed to me that I needed healing from. And he healed me a lot of things and showed me how to love myself and how much different ways that I have found to unintentionally run. Like when you feel super sad, I'm going to take a nap, but you could go and pray about it. I'm gonna go eat this. I'm gonna get this thing of a dose of me. I'm gonna watch a TV show. I'm gonna take an extra long shower. Like, but you could talk about it with me and you'll feel that same relief and 10 times better because he's gonna give you instructions, but you still run. And I am working on that. And then how the fast changed me, I really believe moving forward that I just have to eat more healthier. I definitely did. I feel like if you see like my face got a little bit fatter, yeah, I definitely went and go crazy after I first got off the fast. Like, ooh, I could have a little chicken. Like I definitely went ham in the paint, but I definitely see myself fasting more often. I definitely see myself eating a lot more healthier, really healthier, because the stuff that we have in our food is just not good for us. And so I definitely want to do it. I definitely realize the importance of reaching out to your community and having Christian community. Like, it is so important because we need to be there for one another. We need to help each other. And so, yeah, comes to Daniel's fast and how I saw it within my own life or just Daniel's story, was that first off, in order to even get to the place that he was, where he was going to be seen as a part of the royal services, was the fact that he was someone who already had the characteristics. And I just feel like that is just so important, because I tried the Daniel fast in 2020, but I wasn't in the right spiritual discipline where I was going to be able to be obedient to God. And so it takes a lot to have it, to do this. It is not something that is simple. The king specifically chose men that had already had certain characteristics to do this fast. And I don't say this to brag about myself, but I say this because I was beating myself up, and it is accomplishment. And that if you try it and you have a hard time and you only got to do 7 days and you only can do, 20 days or 40 or like what, 15 of the 21, like whatever your story is, right? Like, it's so important to know that it took a certain level of man to be able to withstand. And one of the things that was so cool about it was the guy who helped Daniel out, right? The community, that guy who said, he said, the guard, right? The chief of the staff, he said, but he responded, I'm afraid of the Lord, the king, my king. Like, he's afraid of the Lord. But he said, I don't want to be beheaded because you guys are not like the other people, right? Like, I don't want to be defeated. And I feel like that's just such a testament to my own journey, because I definitely was so afraid that, like, God, I'm scared to hear your voice. Like, I'm scared to do this. Like, it's a lot. I don't have a kitchen, right? I don't want to get sick. Like, I got sick the last time I tried doing a fast. Like, you want me to fast again? Like, I would do a fast from social media, a fast from this, a fast from that. But an actual like food fast, it's a lot on the body. I don't have a kitchen. I had to rely on a friend to allow me to cook the entire journey, and pack meals and meal prep. And while it helped me like learn new recipes and all those great things, it really was a lot. And I could have come out way worse, and so I was really scared, and I also have a lot of health conditions. And so I was just like, I don't want to come out like worse. But I surrendered, and it was a lot of battling. Let me tell you, it was a lot of battling. You think it was easy for Daniel to watch the other guys eat all the other things? No, it's not. It's definitely not easy. It is definitely a challenge. But what I love about verse 15 was that at the end of the 10 days, and Daniel did it for 10. He did it for 10 for the first one. Okay? Daniel and his friends, the people who were surrounding him, people who helped him, were better nourished, and they were shining. They were better nourished than the other guys. They looked healthier. They felt healthier. They feel good. I lost 11 pounds on a Daniel fast. I also am no longer pre-diabetic just from doing the fast for 40 days. And so it's just like, look at God. Look at his hands. Look how far he has kept me. And like, it was all worth it. Did I cry a lot? Hell yeah. Or should I say, heck yeah? I don't know. Sorry, I hope it's not a bad word. But anyway. But yeah, he's still working on me. You know what I'm saying? But like, oh my gosh, yes. It was definitely really hard, right? Like, it was a lot of tears. It was a lot of phone calls to my friend Daiya that I absolutely love her. It was a lot of prayers. I called my pastor a lot just to help me get through. I seek my church out. I asked questions. Like, it was really a lot. But one thing that stayed the same, God is good, and he's intentional, and he's just great. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Bye.